looking at? What's the most exciting?
What's the most exciting thing in the world of sport?
Yes.
For me, it has to be from the world of basketball, where we heard about the impending trade of James Harden from Houston Rockets to the Boston Celtics. That is a very big deal. And
why?
It's a big deal because James Harden is... Brooklyn Nets, rather, not Boston Celtics. Brooklyn Nets. James Harden is a big player, and he has been asking to be traded. I mean, think of it like transfer in football world. He's been asking to leave the team, wanted to be traded. It wasn't getting what he wanted, and he started throwing tantrums. Yes,
more like Messi during that whole.
Maybe some. In a way, it was something like that. And finally, he got what he wanted, and that news kind of shook the entire basketball world because the team is going to. They already have like 2 strong players on their roster, so teams definitely to be scared of them. But then there are other concerns that I have about that move because we're looking at 3 players who have very, very big egos. How do they get to manage their egos in order not to affect the team? All of those things. So that's the biggest thing for me.
Basketballers tend to work well together. Everybody knows their place.
You think so? You think so? For the longest time, actually, I used to think that there's no way these guys won't tell me maybe they don't get into fights after games because of the way
and stuff.
But there is actually those things exist just like any other sports, like generally with every sport. So yes. So it's the way and manner in which he has left Houston Rockets that's a problem now. And then the team is going to the team players is going to meet there. His former teammates at Houston Rockets already saying all sort of things about him, about the move. So it explains why this one is a very, very big story for us.
I trust you to give us all the details.
Yes, indeed. We will give all the details this morning on SportsBang on Splash 105.5 FM. This is the Integrity Station. Blessing Fowowe here reporting for duty. And my friends are here with me. Feromi Adeboyega is here and Faith Adedeji. Both of them are here this morning, and we'll be taking this ride together in the world of sports today. Since we started off on NBA notes, perhaps we should just continue with that. I'll tell you about Houston Rockets, who have sent James Harden to the Nets in a blockbuster 4-team trade that also involves the Pacers and Cavaliers, completing the unhappy Stars' exit from Houston and setting up a potential super team in Brooklyn. That's according to sources. Well, it's getting real by the moment anyway. The Nets sent Houston a package that includes multiple players and draft picks and features Caris LeVert, who was then traded to Pacers for Victor Oladipo. Now, center Jarrett Allen and the forward Taurean Prince are added for the Nets to the Cavs in a deal, while the Rockets received Cleveland guard Dante Exum and Brooklyn forward Rodion Crooks. Now, imagine just one man wanting to move and also upsetting, or how do I put it? Also causing the move of several other players. Talk about domino effect. That's exactly what is happening here. Houston also received Brooklyn's 3 unprotected first-round draft picks. That's in the deal in 2022, 2024, and 2026. Now, plus pick swaps in 2021, 2023, 2025, and 2027. But I'm wondering, is this worth all of the efforts? I mean, just to get James Harden and you trade the future of the team. That's the way I look at it here. But Houston, the Rockets are also getting Cleveland's 2022 first-round pick via the Milwaukee Bucks, and Houston is sending a 2023 second-round pick to the Pacers. Now, Brooklyn also gets 2024 second-round pick from the Cavaliers. The Nets have 3 open roster spots to fill out their bench if they choose, and a $5.7 million tax mid-level and minimum exception, and likely a $5.7 million disabled player exception. It's a mega trade. It's a mega deal, and that will see James Harden reunited with former Oklahoma City teammate Kevin Durant in Brooklyn, and positions the Nets, who also have all-star guard Kyrie Irving, as a title contender in the Eastern Conference. So if you're not looking at the Brooklyn Nets as a title contender, maybe you should change your mind at this point with the trio of KD, Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, and now James Harden joining the team. Feromi Adeboyega, good morning to you. How are you doing? Let's talk about this super big deal.
Yeah, super morning to you, Blessed. Good morning to you, Faith, and of course, a wonderful listener out there. Always good to be actually back again to actually do this wonderful Thursday morning with exciting news coming from the world of NBA. I mean, this was actually caused by themselves, talking about Houston Rockets, because I felt right from the beginning of the season, this is not a yesterday problem, a last week problem. This is something that has actually been there right from the beginning of the season, even when they say, the just concluded season ended, this problem has always been there between James Harden and, of course, Houston Rockets. He has always shown it that, I'm the big player here, number one. And number two, if you do not, give me quality players, I don't think I can actually, stay here to be the main man alone right here. Even though he wants to be the main man, but he still needs quality to be able to complement what he is actually doing right there. So I think, it's just a win-win situation for the two. Why? Why did I say that? Because number one, the bad attitude leaves, Houston Rockets, which I feel, this is something like a cancer. It can actually spread. It can affect other players if care is not taken. So I think, it's better on that angle. And of course, for James Harden as well, it gets to go to a better team with better quality players that he feels can actually compete, that he feels can actually do well in the NBA. So for me, I think it's actually a win-win situation in that regard. But in terms of being competitive, in terms of having, still having those players that can actually compete in Houston Rockets, I think that's where the problem comes in, because all their big players are gone now. Remember Russell Westbrook? Left first, it was traded, and now Houston Rockets gone. So they are left with, less quality at this point in time. They are left with average players that can actually take them, to the playoffs. If care is not taken, I'm seeing them having the season GSW have, because right now they're second, from the last position on that on the conference table at this point in time. And if care is not taken with the exit of a big player like James Harden, it will definitely affect their competitive attitude right there.
Okay, Houston Rockets center DeMarcus Cousins has blasted James Harden for being disrespectful,
very disrespectful,
that the disgruntled superstars' antics this season have been completely unfair to the rest of the players on the roster. Now, Cousins took a strong stance in the virtual media availability yesterday before the trade. Now, Harden, who had been pushing to be traded for months, declared that the Rockets just aren't good enough and that he doesn't think the situation can be fixed, saying that he had done everything I can for the Rockets. Faith, good morning. How do you react to this?
Good morning, Blessing. Good morning, Feromi, and of course to our esteemed listeners. We started off with NBA. Of course, that is maybe the biggest news in the world of sports right now. The James Harden news, the deal that would involve 4 teams. That is a big deal, right there. But for me, I also feel you just have to let him go, because this is someone that has shown his displeasure at the team. He's not happy with the results. We saw the antics he actually showed after that loss to LA Lakers. It was so obvious that, it's like this man would not be able to continue playing for this team.
Definitely.
And they
was frozen out of the team.
They suspended him from joining the training session and all that. And, that is the situation they found themselves right now. But I don't know, how this decision will pan out for the other team, for Brooklyn Nets. They have brought him in, but they also have fantastic players, just like you said. Maybe there will be a clash of egos, but, on the other hand, on the positive side of it, you would say maybe the more the merrier, the more the quality of players. James Harden, we cannot take anything away from him. He's a quality player. You remember him with that 2018 season when he was the MVP. This man has shown maybe the defensive side of his game can be found wanting time and time again. Maybe you wouldn't see that kind of endeavor, that kind of, maybe wanting to defend as much as you would expect from him. But the offensive side of his game, you cannot take anything away from that. He's one of the best, maybe the second best player in, Rockets history, we have to say. Maybe after Hakeem Olajuwon, he has to be the biggest
in Rockets history.
In Rockets history, I didn't say in
But the quick question is this. Quickly, how did Houston Rockets actually find themselves in this kind of situation? Right, I think this is because they've actually given that much player power to James Harden right from time.
Is it just about James Harden? What about players in other teams? It's just normal for players to have this player power.
I understand it is normal, but it gets to a point whereby if you give them that much power, they tend to misuse it. And that is what we're having at this point in time.
Okay. When a player is that big, you cannot take anything away from player power. It's happening all around
everywhere in the world of sport, football,
maybe for them,
everywhere.
They should just hope that some of the other boys will step up now. Maybe James Wall will step up, and some of the other boys will be able to step up.
DeMarcus Cousins and
DeMarcus Cousins.
But one of the troubles, one of the concerns that I'm having at this point is for Brooklyn Nets. How do you get to manage the ego of 3 big players? KD, Kyrie Irving, who is already having his own personal problems in that team. and then adding James Harden to that. But hey, definitely, I guess we'll have to wait to see what that will turn out to be eventually. But we need to move on quickly to other results in the regular season. Games played in the wee hours of this morning. Charlotte Hornets, they lost to Dallas Mavericks 93-104. Detroit Pistons, they lost to Milwaukee Bucks 101-110 in that one. Washington Wizards had their game postponed against Utah Jazz, and Boston, same with Bolton Celtics and Orlando Magic. But New York Knicks also lost to Brooklyn Nets 109-116, and Memphis Grizzlies defeated Minnesota Timberwolves 118-107. Oklahoma City Thunders lost to LA Lakers 128-98 in the games played in the early hours of this morning. Just selected result there in the NBA. We need to move on quickly to other sports before we get right into football. Plenty of stories to go around in football as well. In tennis, Aryna Sabalenka made a strong start to her 2021 season by clinching the Abu Dhabi Open and extending her winning streak to 15 matches, while Australian Alex de Minaur claimed the Antalya Open. Now, after finishing 2020 with season-ending trophies at Ostrava and Linz, Sabalenka started a new campaign in the same vein in Abu Dhabi. It was a 9th title overall for the 4th seeded Sabalenka, who is projected to rise to world number 7 when the WTA rankings are updated next Monday. Okay, Shania heads to Melbourne for the first Grand Slam of the year at the Australian Open next month. And speaking of the Australian Open here, Britain's Francesca Jones overcame a wee mental breakdown because of cuts on her fingers to qualify for a Grand Slam for the first time. The 20-year-old booked a place in the Australian Open with a crushing 6-love, 6-1 victory over China's Liu Jiang in the final round of qualifying in Abu Dhabi. And she says she was super happy to qualify and really looking forward to getting out to us there. The Australian Open starts on 8th of February in Melbourne, and she will head there on Friday and will have to quarantine for 14 days because of coronavirus rule. But before she needs to tackle the fact that she had not really packed for such long stay away from home or for the hot weather of an Australian summer. Well, she can do some shopping along the line there. But as our qualification is actually remarkable because she has a very, very rare genetic condition which means that she was born with 3 fingers and a thumb each on each hand, 3 toes on her right foot and 4 toes on her left. And despite that, she had to put in a devastating display to win in just 61 seconds there, 61 minutes rather. Away from there, let's talk about double Olympic gold medalist swimmer Kate Keller, who has been charged over there in the U.S. over the U.S. Capitol invasion. He was one of those who were charged with the invasion of the U.S. Capitol by pro-Donald Trump mob last week. Supporters of President Trump stormed the Capitol during a joint session of Congress on the 6th of January as lawmakers met to formalize the victory of President-elect Joe Biden. Now, video footage subsequently emerged that appeared to show Keller, who won 2 gold medals as a relay teammate of Michael Phelps at the 2004 and 2008 Olympics, amongst those storming the building last week. The 38-year-old has been charged with obstructing law enforcement, knowing, entering or remaining in any restricted building or grounds without lawful authority, and violently entry and disorderly conduct on Capitol grounds. How do you go from, Olympic medalist to being charged? Of course, that's when politics and sports intersects there, and that's what we are seeing. Let's get into football, and starting from the Nigerian scene, the MPFL match day 4 games played yesterday. Warri Wolves defeated Katsina United by 3-0. Adamawa United played a goalless draw with Nasarawa United. Heartland, they got the better of Eyimba in that one. 2-0 it ended. Eyimba yet to beat Heartland in the MPFL since the 2-0 success they recorded in 2015, and that is running into a run of 7 games. They've won none, drew 3 and lost 4. Kwara United played a 1-1 draw with Akwa United. Akwa United have scored against Kwara United in 3 consecutive MPFL visits to the Harmony Boys, and they got on the score sheet yet again yesterday. Kano Pillars defeated Plateau United by a goal to nil, courtesy of a Rabiu Ali 78-minute penalty. Wiki Tourists defeated Rivers United 1-0. Rivers United are yet to score an MPFL goal at Wiki Tourists. They failed again yesterday. They fired blank. And Dakada played a 1-0 draw with MFM there in Uyo, and Rangers survived the FC Fanyoba scare. 2-1 it ended, but it wasn't without drama in that game. And maybe the most surprising result of the day was Jigawa Golden Stars stunning Abia Warriors 3-1. What's going on with Imama and Makmakabo? How has it gone from one of the most respected coaches on the Nigerian scene to this?
Well, I don't know what is going on wrong. They've not gotten any win. Especially when they were playing at home against Jigawa Golden Stars. I thought they would be able to kickstart their season because Jigawa, they don't have the best of records on the road. They've not gotten an away win since 2008.
They finally picked points. They finally picked points on the road.
They've not even gotten a win in 13 years. Just about 2 losses and 2 draws and 32 losses in 34 games away from home. That is a very abysmal record, and that is what they have. But this time around, when you meet someone that is in a more murky situation than yours, then probably the situation will be worse than yours, and that is what we have with Abia Warriors. I don't know what is going on wrong right now. They're finding it difficult to get wins. Even at home, they go away, they lose games. At home, they're struggling to get goals, and once you're not scoring goals and you're conceding goals, you will be losing games, and that is what is happening right now. When they have the kind of coach like Imama that probably is one of the brightest prospects. Maybe I'll say was one of the brightest prospects as regards coaching, because now he's showing that he continues to flatter to deceive. When we gave him the national team job, talking about he also fumbled. They're talking about players not being able to interpret tactics here and there.
I remember that statement.
He's come back to Abia Warriors now, and I don't know, maybe the players are finding his tactics too ambiguous or too bogus as well to interpret this time around, and they're not getting.
Maybe he doesn't have tactics.
But do you fancy him being the first coach to be sacked?
It's very, very possible. But then let's look at how Abia Warriors themselves have been able to fare in the transfer, because looking at the players that they actually brought in, I would actually say that maybe it's only Ojoloro Leke, that it's only the quality, so to say, and he's a goalkeeper. Others are actually just average players that they will add little or no quality into that particular Abia Warriors team. So I think put everything together, I think that's one of the major problems that is actually affecting Abia Warriors at this point in time. So like you rightly said, I think if Care is not thinking, if he doesn't start getting results as quick as possible, I think it's going to get the boat as quick as possible as well.
And one other team in a somewhat similar situation, or maybe a worse situation to Abia Warriors, is Sunshine Stars. I think they've just won 1 game in all of the matches they've played so far, and yesterday they drew 2-2. In fact, Lobby Stars thought they had won that game, but ended up 2-2 at up until 92nd minute. I mean, it felt like they were taking 3 points away from Akure, but Sunshine were able to salvage a draw at the end of the day. Now, Sunshine Stars have lost just one of their past 17 home games, but they were able to keep that running on if
the foreign gunners can bounce back, the local gunners should be able to bounce back.
Well, here is Coach Gbenga Ogunbote speaking after that game, giving us an insight into what happened. He was speaking with Splash FM's Ayobami and Nima Shaun.
I think every team is trained to win games, and if you look at it, history has given that goals are scored within the early minutes of the game and towards the last minute of the game. Then we're taking advantage of it, and thank God we got it right, but we couldn't manage it at the end of it.
You also considered on the stroke of halftime. Some people would argue maybe it's a loss of concentration. Some would say maybe Lobby Stars are pretty much just, well placed to counter-attack. What exactly was running through your mind when you considered on the stroke of halftime?
I think we had a careless moment there. You understand? We had a careless moment, and otherwise we have no reason to consider first goal. So let's be it as it may. Sometimes, you pay a price for your, negligence or not doing the right thing or playing against basic.
Okay, the voice of the Oracle coach Gbenga Ogunbote talking about what went down in that game. In other results, Rangers defeated FC Ifeanyi 2-1. FC Ifeanyi on a run of 13 consecutive away losses in the MPFL. The last time they picked an away point was in 2019 against MFM. They are bad travellers at the stands. And Wolves, like we said earlier on, defeated Kasna by 3-0. Away from the MPFL, let's head straight to the English Premier League. Ferromi, Manchester City won. Brighton Hove and Albion nil, thanks to Phil Foden, that goal. And Tottenham, they thought they were going to win that game, only for Fulham to come back into it. London derbies are never straightforward.
Yeah, definitely. Let me quickly just talk about the Manchester City game. I think, City are gradually getting their groove back at this point in time, or let me say they've actually gotten their groove back, because, looking at that game, they had last share of possession as usual, and of course, they had a lot of chances that was actually created, and Phil Foden was the man again to actually, rescue all those 3 points for them in that particular one. And, looking at how they've actually gotten it back, they've actually conceded, I think, one of the least number of goals in the Premier League this particular season, and that shows about the fact that something is actually working right in the defensive department for Manchester City. And never say never for Manchester City. They could just be a title challenger, on the long run with the way they've actually gotten themselves back.
Picked up form at this point. And in Italy, the Coppa Italia, Fiorentina lost to Inter Milan 2-1. Napoli defeated Empoli 3-2, and Juventus defeated Genoa 3-2 in that one. And the DFB Cup there in Germany, surprisingly, Bayern Munich were knocked out by second division club Holstein Kiel. It was the first time since 2004 that they were shocked by that second division team. Well, they lost on penalties anyway, so we won't be seeing them in the DFB Cup finals this time around. And surprisingly, in France, Pochettino has won his first trophy as a manager. He had to leave England. It's expected. I mean, it's not like a surprise that we.
No, we're not. I'll say Thomas Tuchel has already done the better part of the job, getting to the.
And someone else just came to reap the reward.
French Super Cup, but he still had to do the most important thing, crossing the line and winning. That game against Marseille, and they got the all important win. Neymar coming off the bench to score what proved to be the deciding goal, the winning goal eventually. But maybe this would take the pressure off Pochettino. Now he would know that you cannot say he has never won a trophy before in his career.
Did he work for this trophy?
But yeah, he worked for it. He got to play the finals, and 90 minutes is still a lot. For some people they wouldn't get that result. So some people probably would have bottled it, but he got the result, and hopefully he'll be able to kickstart a very great career at PSG.
Okay, hopefully we will be able to kickstart a great career. Then Spain, the Spanish Super Cup, Barcelona defeated Real Sociedad on penalties. It ended 1-1, and then they went to penalties, and Barcelona took that one. Today in the Premier League, we'll have Arsenal against Crystal Palace in what is to be another London derby there. And also in the Spanish Super Cup, there's Real Madrid against Athletic Bilbao. The Coppa Italia, Sassuolo against SPAL, Atalanta against Cagliari. This is the BBC Premier League update. We'll be back to wrap up SportsBang. Stay with us.
BBC Premier League update from the home of Premier League football.
Hello, I'm Paul Serres at the BBC Sports Centre. Phil Foden scored the only goal of the game as Manchester City beat Brighton 1-0 to make it 7 wins in a row in all competitions. The City boss Pep Guardiola said it was a difficult match against quality opposition.
It's the toughest opponent because if you want the ball, you have to suffer, you have to do many, many good things to have it. And when they have the ball, they know exactly what they have to do because every player is in his position. Yeah, we knew it, but unfortunately we could not score the second and third goal. It will be easy. And the last minutes, the last 10-15 minutes, we suffer, we struggle.
Brighton boss Graham Potter was pleased with his side's performance.
We're disappointed to come away with nothing. I think we meet a very, very good team, a top team. But I'm so proud and happy with the players. What they gave today, they gave everything. Quality when they had the opportunity. You have to suffer here, that's how it is. But at the same time, I thought we were aggressive as well and tried to attack. But always you're on the stretch because they've got such wonderful players.
In the day's other game, Tottenham missed the chance to move up to third in the Premier League table after a 1-1 draw at home against struggling Fulham. England striker Harry Kane's first half goal was cancelled out. And Manchester United defender Tim Fosu-Mensah has completed a permanent move to Bayer Leverkusen. He moves to the Bundesliga club for an undisclosed fee. And for more football news from the BBC, go to bbc.com/football.
BBC Premier League update.
Okay, we have to leave on SportsBang this morning. Front page of Sporting Life. Osimhen out for 20 to 30 more days. The Nigerian is still in pains, according to the newspaper here. Guys, we have to leave from your pattern show this morning.
Yeah, maybe it's safe to say that Arteta is a better coach than Pochettino at this point in time. Ooh. If he can win his first trophy in England, and
he has to go to
France to win his first trophy.
Your pattern show.
Well, some games for punters today. I wouldn't be like Ayo Animation. The games will come through. In the Turkish Cup, the game between Fenerbahce and Kasimpasa, home team to win either half, and then the game in Italy, Sassuolo against SPL, Sassuolo to qualify.
Okay, we'll drag if that doesn't come through. My name is Blessing Fowowe. Thanks for being a part of SportsBang this morning, and thanks to Fermi for being here and Faith Adedeji. Thanks to Josh as well who has worked with us. Have a great Thursday. Au revoir.
Splash FM.
Òkìndé ọlọ́jà ẹ̀yẹ, wọ́n tún kí